Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and the start of a new series. So I just want to start off by saying a massive thank you to all of our new subscribers. If you haven't subscribed and you do enjoy this video and what is going to be hopefully a bit of an epic series I'm going to need your support for, please just take a second, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. It massively supports me and it doesn't cost anything for you. Anyway, let's get on to it. What are we doing in this new series? Now, for a while, I've been trying to think about what content I want to deliver, and realistically, all I've done in the past is buy a car and kind of told you the story about how it's been fixed, and hopefully we've made money, not in every case, but we've made some money, some profit at the end of it. But that doesn't really tell a story, does it? It just shows you that this is how I fixed the car and it's now got a happy new owner. So it got me thinking, what did I want out of the channel and what's going to deliver better content for you, the viewer, the subscriber, hopefully, to the channel. And I've been watching series of other YouTubers rebuilding cars, selling them on and kind of building up a profit to buy a dream car. Now, I'm in my mid-40s, so you could call it a midlife crisis, but there's one car that I've always seen, and when it's passed me while driving and stuff like that, I've just thought, oh God, how amazing would it be to have one of those one day? And then it just struck me, why don't I go for it? Why not give it a go? Buy something cheap, try and make a profit out of it, buy something more expensive and make more profit out of it, and work my way up. And so I'm going to do it. And hopefully with your support, we are going to get there. So the car that I really want, the one that I've always kind of thought is out of reach, I'd never be able to afford, is an Aston Martin Vantage. So I saw that car on the Grand Tour and the colour, not a massive fan of that colour, but the actual look of it I think is absolutely phenomenal. So we're going to start off cheap. We've got our first car. Let's cut to me a couple of weeks ago when I started work on it and see what we've bought. So the main aim of this series is to start cheap and then kind of work our way up. And wow, did I start cheap. So let me show you what we've won. Little Citroen C1 edition. I think this was one of the last of this sort of style, 2014, before they released the next model up, or the facelifted model. We've got alloy wheels, air conditioning. This one comes with a rev counter, whereas a lot of them don't. And it's quite a tidy little car with the exception of the damage. So main bulk of damage is here on this wing and on the front bumper, and I think it's been there for a while because there's a self-tapping screw been put in there at some point to kind of hold things together. But we've got a new wing, we've got new brackets, that's all good. We've got the trim piece to go on here. I think this bumper can be repaired if we just heat it up, and then I just kind of spray over and blend into the rest of the bumper there. Obviously it's difficult to tell with this wing being damaged, but we'll take this off and then we'll see. I think it's just tweaked the bonnet over very slightly, and there's a headlight bracket or two that we need to fix on the headlight. Got a dent here, around the back's all good, and then on this side again there's another dent here. But I've been ordering a load of stuff. I've got a ton of boxes. Katie's very happy about all the deliveries that have turned up this week. So let's get cracking and get that front bumper off. So let's have a look now. The bumper's off. We've got this relay box here which is working but is broken, so I've ordered a replacement one of those, but it hasn't arrived yet, so hopefully that should be here either tomorrow or Monday and I can just swap those bits over. For running from that, we've got these wires that go into a connector, or should go into a connector similar to that. That literally goes to a blank at the back of the front bumper, so I'm assuming that's relating to probably a different style of fog light. And then, like I say, we've got this connector here which goes to the DRL. I've bought a repair kit for that so that I can get that connected up to our new DRL light. Other than that, we've got the expected damage to the wing bracket and the wing. The headlight's loose because the brackets come off, but I'm going to plastic weld that back on. This side Everything seems fine. There's no damage to any of the rad pack, no damage to any of the lower plastics or any of the metal frame or the impact bar, so we are good. This was a Cat N, so I didn't expect any major damage. So the next thing is we're going to get, if the camera decides to follow me, we're going to get this wing off. There we go, one wing. Now this bracket here has been tweaked. Because it's so soft, I'll just bend that back into shape where it needs to be. I think get the new wing out, get that sorted on. The clips, some of the clips on the bottom of the bumper have broken, so I need to unscrew those from underneath the front of the car and then plastic weld them back on. So I've just gone to all that trouble to try and get this wing bracket correct. And there's one on the new wing, so I don't actually have to worry about that being bent, which is a bit of a bonus, but I have just wasted 10 minutes straightening a bit of metal I didn't need to. Okay, so we've got our new wing. It's not perfect, there's a little bit of rust on this edge here, but it's not a problem. Like I say, I'm going to rub that down. I've got to spray this corner of the bumper anyway, so I'll be able to blend it in, but it looks to be perfect colour match, which is quite nice. And like I said, that bracket is there, so I can make sure that this is shaped correctly when we line this one on. So let's just get it roughly in place. Okay, so we've got our bolt on here. It's not sat where the previous one, but obviously this has come off a different car, so that's secure there. We've got a bolt down here that's in place. We've got the two bolts here and here on the front bracket, and then this one here. There's a really awkward one just there. So next step is to put the bracket onto this, and then we'll be able to check if the bumper all clips back into place okay. I need to take those little tabs and fix those back onto the bumper before I do that, but let's get this bracket on and go from there. Okay, so they're just drying now. And what I basically did is, as you can see with the soldering iron, I just heated up the back edge first to melt the two together, and then I did the same on the rear. And then after I got that, I just got some old cable tie cut-offs and I just melted a couple of layers of cable tie into it just to make that a bit stronger. And now that is not going to come off. This one is still drying, so I'm not going to move it too much, but you get the idea. So those two clips are now reinstalled. So I've just done the same with these, although I haven't reinforced them with any kind of cable tie because this is slightly thicker plastic on the headlight. But as you can see, all those lugs are now back on, and it's cost me nothing to do. So now that the tabs have all dried and they're really tough now, I'm really happy with that. We need to take a look at this. So if we look on this side, this is the kind of shape that that piece of plastic should be, so that we can clip in the cover that goes on the front and then obviously get our DRL light in. Now on this side, obviously it's all pushed forwards, and there's also a little indent here. So what we're going to do is going to get the heat gun, heat that up, push it back out, get it back into shape, and see if we can't also push out this bit of a bulge. That's pushed that back now. I used a hammer in the end just because this got quite hot and I wanted something quite flat to push it in. So that's now taken back of the shape. I need to do a repair here potentially, but what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get the new plastic insert that goes on the front of the bumper. We'll get that fitted, and if that is in place, we can then heat up this section, and hopefully that extra bit of reinforcement on the front will pull it all back to shape. So this is our new second-hand part from Silver Lake. It was £20, so that's going to sit in there like that. And then this is where I said we've got this little indent here on the bumper, so I'm going to get this clipped into place, and then with that in place it should allow me to heat up and pull that bit out from behind. Okay, so that's it clipped in at most of the points. Obviously here it won't go in, so we're going to heat this up now, try and push this piece of plastic in and pull that, and hopefully it will line it back up. Okay, so I've got all that pushed back, but there's a little split just here, and that's preventing it from staying in shape. So what I'm going to do, get the soldering iron like we did with the headlights and the brackets on the bumper. I'm just going to heat this up and just melt those two bits so that they join together like that. Okay, so there we go. I've just heated it up, like I say, with the soldering iron and just melted those two pieces of plastic back together, so the crack's gone. There we go, that's our repaired corner. We'll address the paintwork later after I've given it a clean, but ultimately that is now back to looking how it should be. Right, so it's another day. I'm a bit annoyed. I ordered a part, that fuse relay box to sit behind the front bumper, and it's over a week now, it still hasn't turned up. I don't think the courier's even picked it up. So we're going to jump on to the next thing, which is get it serviced. So I'm running it up to temperature. It's been going for about 5-10 minutes now, just get the oil nice and warm. We've got our oil extractor here, so we don't have to take the sump plug off. We can just put that down through the dipstick and then it will suck all the oil out. Nice and clean, easy way to do it. Link to this is in the description. And then we have got some fresh air filter, pollen filter, and we've got ourselves a new service book, because we haven't got one, 3 spark plugs, the oil filter, and the oil is in the garage. So most importantly, coffee is made. Okay, so I've got our oil drain in there. So I say we put the tube down through the dipstick, you take off the oil filler cap just so it doesn't build a vacuum in there, and then that's now, I don't know if you can hear, draining away at a nice safe speed and no mess. So what I'm going to do next, while that's draining, I'm going to take this cover off, take the air box out, and then we'll swap the spark plugs over. So that's the spark plugs done, and the air filter. Let's do our cabin filter. Yeah, the actual plastic housing, you just kind of grab that and pull it out. I'll show you how easy it is. You reach up here and pull. And then that is disgusting. Don't know if you can see in there all those bits of crud. I don't think that's been done in quite a while. Yeah, right, so new one back in exact same way. So get it lined up. It's on like a little runner. I would show you with the camera, but trying to get this in there and get the light on it and get the camera angle, I don't think will work, but you get a rough idea. And then that's in and done. Right, so that's the oil drained. Got just over, you can see there, just over 3 litres, which is ideal because this takes 3.5 litres, and obviously there'll be some still, I think, in the oil filter. So I've got my drip bucket and I'm going to get that off and we'll swap it out. So to get it off, I'm going to try this new tool that I got off Temu, and basically what it is, it's like a little clamp that goes round, and then you just put your ratchet on the bottom of it and it should just undo. Last time I had to do one of these, I had to destroy the oil filter because somebody put it on way too tight. So wish me luck with this one. Somebody's probably saying to me, why don't you jack the car up? Well, I was being lazy, I couldn't be bothered. Oh, this tool is brilliant. There we go. It's now hand tight. So again, we've got a new one from Febby. I will put in the link, but like I say, all the parts I buy, no matter what car, I always get from Parts in Motion, unless there's some specific reason they haven't got that one in stock. Because they are always very good with the shipping. And the price usually is cheaper than places like Euro car parts, which I detest because every time I go there, order a part, there's always something that goes wrong, right? It's the wrong part, or it's been used and returned and no one's told them. So, right, well, that's finished draining. We'll get that out. And then I'm going to put a bit of oil just on the O-ring there. Yeah, just realised this is going to need a new tyre because it's down to the wear marks, and the inside edge is very, very low to the point it's almost at the cords. Right, I can't find my funnel, just going to have to send it and hope to hell I don't make a massive mess. We're recording, yes. Ooh. So that's the oil, the filters, the oil filter done, and that has taken me just under an hour. So nice and easy job. You could do this at home. You need a couple of tools to do it. And I say the parts aren't expensive, but I'll list that at the very end of the video. So I'm going to give this a couple of minutes, let that oil sit in. Then we'll get it started, run it up to temperature, and then we'll check our oil level and see if we need to top it up. I would guess we probably need to put another ½ litre in, but say we'll find that out in a minute. That already sounds a lot smoother. I mean, these little 3 cylinders, they've got kind of a wacky sound to them anyway, but just on startup it sounded a little bit smoother. Yeah, so next thing we need to tackle is the brakes. Pads on this are quite heavily worn, and there's a fairly hefty lip actually on the disc itself. So let's get the wheel off and have a look at the condition of what they're in. I've got a new set, wasn't too expensive. Again, all prices will be at the end of the video of what I've spent on parts, but this should be quite an easy one hopefully. But let's start off and we'll undo the brake fluid reservoir, so when we compress the piston, that's got room to move about. Right, so if we have a look at this disc, here you can see quite a heavy lip on the edge there. And if we can get you a visual on the pad, there is hardly anything left on it. So what we're going to do, before I take the caliper off, I'm just going to get a wire brush on it, clean it up a little bit, get some WD-40 on the bolts just to kind of soak those, let it penetrate for a little bit. And then we will get the disc off, get the pads changed out, and then we'll do the other side. Alright, so a top tip before you take the caliper carrier off and everything else, is if you're replacing discs and pads, get your screwdriver between the disc and the pad, just using a flathead. Allows you to push that piston all the way back, and then that's already done and in the right place for your new discs. Right, so that's our pads and discs complete. So what I need to do, if I had had more time, I would have probably given these a lick of paint. At some point, I think I had locking wheel nuts. So that one of these nuts is like, looks pretty much brand new. The other ones all look like this. I've rubbed them down with some, with a wire brush. I think they need some paint, but I don't actually have any silver paint at the moment. So what I'm going to do is stick these back on as they are, order some silver paint, and then what I'll do is I'll go around and I'll take all the nuts off each of the wheels and give them a spray, because I think it will just finish it off, make it look a little bit more loved and looked after. Oh, he says, dropping the bolt. Right, so that's all the interior pretty much tidied up. I'll go over it again with a hoover before I put it up for sale. There's only one thing that I think is letting it down, and that's the mats that were in it. So I've got a brand new set. Let's get those fitted. They are looking smart. They are tailored ones for the pricely sum of 12 quid. Thank you, eBay. I'll show you the ones in the back. But yeah, I think that freshens it up really nicely.
One eternity later.
Right, so the next task is to replace this relay box as it's finally arrived. So we've got our replacement here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this little holder out of it. You take the relay out, and if I remember correctly, it just slides straight down and out. And then we'll take off the cable ties and everything that's holding it on and swap it over with the new one. And because that relay looks a bit knackered and old, make sure you can see it, I'm going to put a fresh one in. First of all, I'm going to clean up those contacts. There we go. So with that last job done, we can finally fit the bumper properly and hopefully for the last time. There was a couple of Torx bolts across the top of the bumper, a few in the wheel arch, and I think 3 underneath the bumper itself. With that fitted, we now need to pay attention to the damage. So this is what it looked like before. I got a specialist paint which has the lacquer mixed in, and I basically did a light wet sand and did a few coats over that corner, and that finished it off really nicely, and I'm very happy with that. So I think that brings to a good point to stop for the current episode on the Citroen. I've got quite a few other things that I want to kind of get done on it, but before we do that, let's crunch the numbers and work out what we've spent. So hopefully you can read my handwriting. I've put all the costs down on our whiteboard so we know where we are. So we had purchase price including the fees, 615, delivery at 80, various different bits of parts, but they've not been massively expensive with the exception of possibly the wing, but that was in colour and not in terrible condition, so that really saved us. But it brings us to a total of £1,067.80. Things we need to pick up in the next episode is I need to get that front tyre changed where it's kind of wearing on the inside edge. We've got dents to the rear bodywork. I'm going to have a go at doing the paintless dent repair. I've bought one of those kits where you can put like the hot glue pads on there. I'm going to have a go at doing that, but failing that, I do have a backup plan. Alloy wheels. Now, in the centre of the alloy wheels, they are quite heavily corroded where the badges go, so I'm going to get some alloy wheel paint and I'm going to have a go at redoing those myself, and we'll also spray those wheel bolts just to get rid of the rust. And then finally we've got our exterior clean, so that should bring us to the end of the next episode on that car, and it should be ready to go up for sale. It's still got MOT well into 2026, so we don't need to MOT it. We just need to take it for a test drive and make sure it runs okay. So one thing I really want your guys' help on is, what do we call this series? We've got to give it a cool sort of strap line. So think of something like 600 quid to 600 brake horsepower, something like that. We can name the series, and I won't name it until I've got your responses in the comments. So go and put your ideas in the comments. Let me know what you think we should call the series, and that will be the title of the new build, getting us all the way through to hopefully buying that Aston Martin. So thank you to everyone who's watched all the way through. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe if you haven't, so you know when our next video comes out on the series. Without anything else to say, hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.